Hello friends, welcome to IT Job Pulse. Today is ninth video of PMP training program. As usual, let me share my screen with you and let me open the topic for today. That is WBS made fun. Definitely it will be a fun. But before that, what is the full form of WBS? WBS is nothing but work breakdown structure, and we will decode it. And how we are going to be doing it? Decomposing scope without losing your mind or your team. Okay. So what is work breakdown structure? Let me give you some background. Okay. So project manager will have a discussion with client for the requirements. For example, a client wants to build a e-commerce application like Amazon. So this is high level scope requirement which the company has got through project manager. Now, uh, PM and team, like in team generally, um, when the project begins, there are BAs who work along with PM. Okay. So it can differ from organization to organization. Okay. In some organizations, you'll find from the beginning of the project, there's an involvement of developers, architectures, okay? But again, the structure can change. But high level situation here is company is going to get a requirement, high level requirement from the client, and it will be given to a project manager. Now, project manager will go back to the team, project team, and like brainstorming will happen. Then, based on that, scope will be decided. And once the scope is decided, then a team will make project scope statement. Okay. And once we make a project a scope statement, which is nothing but the high level requirement, then we need to break down that high level requirement into small tasks. Okay. So for that, we do work breakdown structure, and work breakdown structure generally it consists of acceptance criteria. Okay. Uh, Required deliverables, out of scope items, constraints, and assumptions. Okay. So these all things are part of a WBS. Now, let me give you a simple example. That is, WBS is breaking down your project like a pizza into slices. Imagine you are in your college. There are two more friends with you. So total you are three friends, and you've got a pizza with with six slices. So now each one of you can have two slices, and this way you can break down your pizza and you can eat it. So for all three of you, it will become easy to eat two slices. So nothing here is nothing but the each slice is equal to manageable and assignable work package. Okay. So no one eats the whole pizza at once. Same with projects. So did it happen that you have taken all the six slices and you have written all that at one go? No, right? So again, the logic here is we have a big goal and we need to break down that goal into very small goals and again into small goals. And this is how the project management is done. And that's the best practice to happen. From scope to work package. Now we'll understand what is work package. Work packages, sorry. We take the project scope statement as I mentioned earlier, and then we slice it into work package. So slice is nothing but the work package, and which contains like manageable, assignable, trackable. Okay. So these all three things should be there while we break down the work. Now, work breakdown structure is again consists of work packages. Okay, that is, it has to be manageable, assignable, and trackable. So these are the building blocks of WBS. So WBS is work breakdown structure, and blocks are work packages. Okay, so brick by brick, we are building a wall, right? What's with the codes? Okay, so as soon as I say code, some of you might not like want to do the coding work, but don't worry, it's not the development coding work. It's a simple task. Okay, instead of long descriptions, like let me give a example of e-commerce application. Like client wants to build a e-commerce website. It should have the ability to customer to log in into the application. It should also have a register page. It should also have the option of forgot password. Now, after successful login, user should be able to see the products, and after that there should be a categorization of the products. So this is getting very long, right? It's a long description. Okay, of course we all need that, but we are at the initial stage of the project and we need to break down the tasks. We are talking about the tasks, not the descriptions, or not like in-depth requirement. Okay, so we assign WBS codes, which is nothing but the code of accounts, to each work package. So it's like tagging your laundry. You know what's what without reading the label, right? So let's consider example, giving a code. We are building a website. I talked about design a home page. So it will be 1.1.1. That is the code. That is nothing but the work package. Okay. Work package gets a code. That is, then if I have to talk about second, then it will be 2.1.1. Then we can say login feature. Okay. And this code work goes on. So don't worry, it's not a technical coding. It's like numbering. Okay. WBS structure, from chaos to clarity. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned it's a hectic task, right? Because we need to understand the requirement very, very well. So how we reach to the clarity part? Why fear when Gautam is here? Very bad feature. Okay. Work packages is equal to planning packages. Now, planning packages has work packages. Okay. Then planning packages is equal to control account. So control account is basically, it is about planning packages, but control account is more of controlling scope, budget, and timeline or deliverables. And WBS dictionary is equal to nothing but your glossary of all of these mandates. So WBS dictionary has work packages, planning packages, okay, and control account as well. All parts are equal to approved scope baseline. What is the meaning of approved scope baseline? Now we have we have broken down the high level requirements into um, functionalities, and in functionalities also uh, we have broken down into small functions. Okay, so once we are clear on whatever whatever is required to be added in the WBS structure, then we come to a conclusion that yes, we needed all this information. Now it is ready. The scope baseline is ready, and scope baseline. Once we just a second, once we reach to approved scope baseline, that means the scope is finalized. It is freezed. We cannot go back. We cannot change anything in waterfall. Okay. But in Agile Scrum, it does not that work that way. Yes, high level scope we have, but we all agree to a mutual agreement that this is not a final scope. This is not the final work. It will change. It is evolving. It is iterative activity. Scope baseline, the golden record. As I mentioned, once the scope baseline is ready, it is the frozen time, like the requirements are frozen. So imagine client has asked you for e-commerce application, login, buying the product on website, and the client has forgotten to add a tracking and courier options. Okay, so let's say we have started working on the functionalities asked by the client, and we have reached to the middle of the project. That is, we have developed home page, login page. We have also developed view products functionality, adding to the cart, making the payment. Okay. Now the client comes and say that I forgot. They might not say the word of I forgot, but they will say, "Hey, let's understand. I am a PM, okay?" And the stakeholder is coming to me and saying, "Hey, Gautam, we just want to check with you. Like so far, we are okay with whatever you have developed, and we just thought of we can add a." uh, tracking functionality for the products which are ordered, and we need to also add a courier partners, right? So it is in the middle of the project, or even the project has started. If it is a waterfall, then very rarely it will happen that it that we will go back and we will change our scope. Okay, in waterfall it rarely happens because agreement is already made that we will not change. But in some rare cases, that also happen. Okay. But if we consider the same situation in Agile and Scrum, so we can definitely do that. We can check the consequences. We can give the revised timelines because we need to make sure that we deliver the quality product to the client. So that is what the meaning of a scope baseline in waterfall. That is, it is frozen. We cannot make any changes. It contains project scope statement, then WBS, work and planning packages, WBS dictionary. So these four contents are there and can only change via approved change request. No sneaky edits allowed. So as I mentioned, in waterfall, it is like almost no for change. But as I said, in some rare projects it happens, but it has to go through a change approved change request. Okay, it's just not like that. The conversation which you heard. I am a project manager, so what I will do, I will say to the stakeholder that, boss, I got your requirements and I understand that this is really important functionality which we should add into the e-commerce application, and that is a valid requirement. Let me go back and check the scope. Okay, I am sure that it is not part of the scope. Now, if we have to change the scope, I find it little challenging because it should go through the approved change request. But even that part is there. Even before that, we will have to make a lot of changes. We might lose some budget, some money also because we have come very ahead in the project. So let me understand all the consequences, and it's just not the negative part, but there are some positive possibilities as well. But at the moment, I am not in a position to commit to anything. But for sure, please allow me some time. Let me check like what the best solution can be given in this situation, and then probably if it is possible, then we will go through the change request, and yeah, so we'll work it out together. I hope this helps you. So this is where the conversation will end. If it is a waterfall methodology and if it is a agile scrum framework, so any which way, so we will, if let's imagine that a sprint is going on. Okay, So in Agile, basically we have sprints. Like in my previous videos, I have talked about sprints. Let's consider that there are three sprints of 3 weeks each we have completed, and the client is coming with the change requirement. Definitely, we will again check the consequences of adding that functionality into the current sprint or in the further sprint, or can we do it parallelly? If you are doing it parallelly, how to bring resources for the same thing. So all the things will be again considered, and then it works the same way both in waterfall and agile. Waterfall is basically it is fixed. We cannot change. Agile is open to change, right? Agile Scrum twist. Where's the WBS? Now we have understood WBS in waterfall, and let's understand what is WBS and where it is. Okay, so WBS is nothing but epics. Okay, now what is epics? Imagine you are going to the Google page and you are searching for something. So there is a search functionality that is nothing but the epic, high level epic. Okay. Now that epic gets breakdown into smaller. Maybe it can have a sub goals. Okay. Sub functions like under search you can have a functionality of like Google Maps, okay, or you can have a functionality of showing web pages. So just try to understand that high level epic, then again a small, again a function, and that function can also again broken down into user stories. So that is what user stories is equal to work packages. If you go back to WBS, that is work breakdown structure, and under work breakdown structure, under high level function, work packages are developed. Product backlog is equal to dynamic WBS. As I mentioned in my in previous slide that it is dynamic, it is evolving, it can change, right? So definition of done is equal to acceptance criteria. In Agile, like definition of done means that the user story is written very well, and we first we begin with DOR, that is definition of ready, and then we come to definition of done, that is nothing but the functionality or feature is developed, and it is tested, and it is ready to be it's ready to be added in the production environment. So that is what definition of done is in Agile, and in PMP waterfall methodology, it is like acceptance criteria. Okay. Scrum doesn't ignore structure; it just embraces change. So Scrum is flexible. Okay, and it does not. I mean, structure is there in Scrum, but it is flexible. We can change. Uh, in waterfall, there is a structure, very good structure, but we cannot change. It is not flexible. Game time, code that work. Again, don't worry. Coding is not actually developers coding here. So I will describe a deliverable. You give it a WBS code. Okay. So you can comment that example. Develop login page is equal to 1.2.1. Let's see who becomes the WBS wizard. So I'll see your comments. Please write down your comments. So final takeaway. WBS is your project's map, right? It is everything which you need in order to develop the project, work on the project, check the requirements. Okay. Use it well, and your project won't get lost. So if you follow WS very well, you will not lose your track. That is what, imagine you are driving a car, and you want to go to some place from, let's say, from Pune to Mumbai. You want to go, you are not aware where the Mumbai is, and if you start your journey, you started with map. Okay, and in between you just stopped using maps, then what will happen? You will get lost, right? Same way, whatever we are making, WBS, work breakdown structure, is your map, and we have to follow it vigorously. Then it makes us sure that we are delivering the scope and we are delivering the project. That is what it is. Waterfall or agile structure plus clarity is equal to smooth delivery. So on that note, I have come to the end of the video. I hope this video is helpful. I would like to really understand your feedback. If you like the video, I will get a feedback that you are happy. And if you subscribe the channel, that means I am able to add some value in your life and you are feeling delighted. So please take that action. For the time being, I am saying goodbye. Take care. Catch you soon.